Look at me. Hey. I don't stay in the projects anymore. I'm not a project baby anymore. I'm a suburbs kid. I'm a suburban.
Run it back.
DA got that dope.
Yo, welcome to Run It Back Podcast, episode 5. This is Dan, and as usual, I got Keith and Kev with me.
What's up?
We got two special spectators in the building, Vinny X and Willie. What up? How you guys doing?
Speak up, y'all over there quiet as shit, sitting on the bed together. Y'all looking sus right now.
Let's get right into it. A couple of good projects drops this past weekend. Starting off with Quavo, he dropped his solo project called Quavo Honcho. Have you guys listened to it?
Honcho! I did. What do you guys think? Nikki, do you love me? Are you? Get that shit out of here. Oh, sorry. Listen, bro. This album was overhyped as fuck. I didn't even understand what was going on this whole album. But seriously, I wasn't feeling it. The first half of it was okay to begin with. I thought it was going to start picking up, but it didn't pick up at all. I wasn't feeling this album at all. Overhyped, that's just my opinion, straight up.
I think I agree with you. It was a little overhyped, but there are some good songs here and there within the album. If you listen to the whole thing a few times over, there are a few good songs here and there. Kev, what do you think?
I like the Drake track, Flip the Switch, and that's mostly because of Drake. And then, what the fuck is going on with Madonna? Let's talk about that right now.
I didn't want to start with that, but since you brought it up. Here, want to play a snippet of that?
How old is Madonna?
Like
Too
55?
old to be doing this shit.
Oh, man.
Here, we'll play a little bit of that.
Yo, please one of you guys tell me what the fuck Madonna's saying on this song.
It's cultural appropriation.
This shit sounds racist as fuck. If they wanted an Asian sounding lady, they could have just hired an Asian lady to do this.
She gonna love you long time.
Yo, what the fuck is she saying? Ding, 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 ding. I'm not trying to be racist, but still.
No, be racist, bro.
But yo, that track, Cardi killed the verse.
It's okay. Just to sort of go off of Keith, it's definitely overhyped. One of the things that's the problem with a lot of these Atlanta rappers is they pump out so much content and not all of it is good. Like this album's what? 19 tracks and I maybe like 4 of them.
You know what it is? We touched upon this like a few episodes ago. It might have been last episode if I remember right. Like using features, like how people utilize features, right? I think this one right here, Madonna's name was just used for the fact like it was just Madonna, you know? What
Definitely.
she did on the song, like it's nothing.
Bro, like Complex was flexing like, oh, Quavo was able to get Madonna on this. It's gonna be straight fire. I was like, what the fuck? La ching ching chong ma ching long dong. Walk cow chani ma. I don't know what the fuck was going on. What was this woman saying? Someone explain to me. I don't think Rap Genius got what that woman was trying to say.
It's a total mismatch.
They got question marks around that verse.
Because when you think about it, Migos' audience and Quavo's audience by extension, half of them don't even know who Madonna is. Let's be real. They only know her by name. They weren't around when she was at her prime. So they're going to be like, who's this weird old white lady?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they know the music, but they know the name, which is, I think, why he used her on the song.
Yeah, that was just to carry the song because this whole album has like, most of it is features after features, but honestly, this album was overhyped. I expected more from it, and it didn't produce.
No takeoff on the album. What do you guys think?
That's a big thing. No, he's on it.
Is he?
He's on it.
Takeoff
he's on Keep That Shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's there.
Trying to stir it
Stop
up.
trying to instigate.
Did you listen to the album? Oh, busted.
I listened to the album.
There's one thing that's been circulating though. The track Big Bro. I don't know if you guys heard it.
I heard it.
He makes a reference to Xanax and then how it's actually fentanyl. And then a lot of people felt like he was directing that at how Lil Peep died. And then a lot of his fanboys kind of jumped on that and felt away. What do you guys think?
I heard the line that you're talking about. I don't know if he was talking about Lil Peep.
I think it's a common thing. So it's a misunderstanding when people think it's directed at him.
People are just reaching these days, you know. When they hear something that could apply to like another situation, they just try to like connect the dots. The other big thing on the album was his bars for Nicki. You guys heard those? He slapped Nicki.
I know Keith has something to say about that.
Nicki, eh? Yeah, eh? Chun-Li, eh?
Chun-Li.
It goes with the Champagne Rosé song, though, if you think about it.
Straight from the jungle, no safari.
No safari.
Hey.
Podcast. Where's that man at?
Whatever. Let's ratings, if you were to rate it.
Honestly, I wanted to give this a 2.5, but I'm gonna push it to a 3 because I think it's okay, but it's just something that didn't live up to the hype. I know a lot of mans were shouting out this album. I know LeBron James shouted this album out and was giving love to Quavo, but it was not what I expected, and it was very not good, bro. It wasn't good at all. I was trying to make up words.
Yeah, I think I agree. With the fact that it was overhyped, again, there are good songs on the album, but out of the 18 songs, like I like maybe like 6 or 7. So I think I would also have to agree with your rating. So I'd give it a 3 out of 5.
You guys are too generous. I'm debating between 2 and 2.5. I'm probably gonna stick with 2.5 because there's a few songs that are good, but definitely overhyped. People don't know what they're talking about.
Another project that dropped was Immigrant by Belly. Local artist here in Toronto. What'd you guys think?
I liked it. I know you're saying we'll get to it when we get to it, but there was another album that was out this week that was good. But out of all the albums that came out this weekend, I honestly believe that this was the best project out. That's just my opinion. It already had a few songs that came out, like the one with The Weeknd, What You Want, and Maintained with Nav, which were bangers in my opinion.
What You Want with The Weeknd is trash. I don't know what anybody says.
I don't know what you're saying, but that's a good track. I don't know why you're hating on it that much. Honestly, it's not for everyone, but I believe that a lot of people can bump to that song, especially if you're driving home. That's definitely a good track that you want to bump to.
Because that shit's being played on the radio 24/7.
Hey, man.
But I think that's why you're not liking, because you're over inundated by it. But right?
I think it's
we
like
were talking about this.
Ooh.
It's not for you. It's for the people who want the top 40 songs, right? The Weeknd's good on it. Belly's trash on it. I'll agree with you with that. But The Weeknd definitely makes that track. I wouldn't play it myself, but I can see the mainstream appeal.
Yeah, there's definitely a mainstream appeal. But I think I like Maintain as like a hit or a single much better than that song.
I mean, so as a body of work goes, this one fell a little flat for me. Mind you, I don't really even fuck with Belly like that. But I like the first half of it. I like how he goes into sort of that whole, it's called Immigrant, right? So his background, his come up, and then his reflecting on his success, on his way to success. But then I think, especially towards the second half of the album, he tries to reach out to that mainstream audience. He starts doing all the singing and the weird songs for the chicks. But Belly's not really good at that. So it's dry.
No, yeah, I can, like, for me, like, I've already said this before, I'm coming from a place where I don't listen to some of these people that I should be listening to. I know Kev and Dan have put me on new people that I should be listening to, and Belly was one of these rappers that I just fell upon on the Apple's newly released albums. And for me, Immigrant was my favorite track out of this whole project.
Agreed.
Yeah, like the Meek Mill verse, I think was pretty dope. It's very important to take into consideration what he's saying in this verse, especially the fact when he brings up. But one thing that I really liked is when he brought up Stormy Daniels and how everyone's talking about Stormy Daniels when there's so much more shit to be really talking about, but people are just focusing on that. So I really like that track, and I really like what the message behind that track was really trying to say.
I like the project overall. I like the second track, Zion, and I think he finished the project pretty strong with Street Cathedral. That song was pretty fire to me. I think Belly is like a little underrated or maybe misunderstood. I think he has some bars, which is like not appreciated enough. But as a project, the whole thing was all right. There are certain songs that definitely stand out to me, but yeah, the whole overall project was all right. Nothing exceptional.
I just want to add to that. Definitely, at times, Belly has his moments where he's just a little bit above an adequate rapper. Like, he has some nice cadences here and there. But overall, I think, especially in this project, it was not well put together. So the beats aren't selected right. Some of the tracks are a little flat. But ratings, guys. What do you guys think?
For me, since this was the best album this week, in all honesty, not a lot of great albums came out this week. We'll get to that later on. But I would give this a solid 3.5 out of 5. I think this is a great project by Belly. Still, he can do better, I think.
I think since I gave Quavo a 3, I think this project to me is a little bit better. So I'd have to agree with Keith. I'd give it a 3.5 out of 5 too.
For me, this is a 3 out of 5. Like I said, could have been, like, he can spit once in a while, but that singing shit's got to stop because it's not working.
So the next project we'll talk about, I guess, is Usher and Zaytoven. They dropped a joint project called The A. Man, I'll let you guys get your shit off first before I talk about it. What'd you guys think?
I was studying. I was trying to do some work, listening to this album, and nothing. I didn't feel anything from this album. I didn't understand what was going on in this album. This didn't sound like Usher to me.
So it's crazy you said that. So I want to bring up a question that we should address, right? Usher is an old OG when it comes to this R&B shit, right?
Right.
So the question I want to ask you guys is, when it comes to like these older artists, right? When they put out new projects, should they maintain the sound that they had before, or should they try to adapt to the new sound that's popping up?
I think they need to innovate to some extent because you can't really go back to 8701 or Confessions, right? Because that shit's gonna sound dated. So with that being said, when I first heard this album or heard that this was coming out, I was a little bit hesitant because I'm like, this guy hasn't been relevant in like half a decade. But I was pleasantly surprised that he could adapt, and he meshed well. At least I think so. Whether or not you think this is Usher, that's another story.
So I think I agree, but I think what there needs to happen is like there needs to be some balance, right? So he can adapt to the sound, right? Like the beats he chooses, or the flows that he chooses to spit, or the melodies that he chooses to sing. Those things can be modern, or it can be like the whatever is popping at the time now. But I think the content of the music, like, he's a 40-year-old man, right? Some of the shit that he's talking about on this album is like, I don't think is what he's going through at 40 years old.
I mean, I think he aged well with it. I mean, if you look at someone like Eminem who tries to adopt a new sound, sometimes it sounds awkward. Here it sounds a lot more natural. And the album's called A, right? So he's bigging up that Atlanta sound.
Yep.
And it's consistent. He's got Future on it. He's got Gunna on that. And it might not be the Usher you were expecting, but as individual songs, I enjoyed a good chunk of them. Just for what they were.
Yeah, I completely agree with what Kev and Dan are trying to say with this album. Yeah, adapt. Being able to adapt, especially now, especially for some of these OG R&B rappers, it's difficult. It definitely for trying to get some of these new millennial kids trying to bump to their music, but you know, I don't think Usher was able to do that with this particular album, and I didn't really feel it. From this album, I wasn't able to get into it. It was just it felt like he was trying too hard in order to satisfy some of these new people. That's just my opinion.
I completely agree. I think even if he made some shit that sounded like his old music, his like fans, because he's such an OG in the game, he's been doing this so long, like his fan base is huge, right?
Yeah, like we grew up listening to Usher, bro.
Yeah. I think even if he made songs that sounded a little dated, his fans maybe would have enjoyed it, but I agree with you. I think he's trying to appeal to like the millennials and the kids these days. To me personally, I didn't enjoy it that much, even though I do think he adapted to the new sound, like the flows he was doing and the melodies he was doing. It was good. But me personally, I didn't enjoy it. This is the guy who made Confessions. I want to hear shit like that.
So what do you rate it then?
Fuck. Give it a 3 out of 5.
Keith?
Yeah, for me, I'm gonna have to. I don't know. I'm gonna have to shit on this album. I'm gonna give it a 2.5 out of 5. I wasn't really feeling it at all. I didn't see any track that stood out. It was a very unappeasing album to me.
I like the attempt, but like you guys said, it's definitely out of character and it's a bit of a reach. I would probably bump it again though, just once in a while kind of thing. So probably 3 out of 5 for me.
Very good.
Moving on to my favorite project that dropped this weekend.
I didn't listen. I didn't do my homework.
Ella Mai dropped her project, a self-titled project called Ella Mai. What'd you think, Kev?
I wasn't very impressed. I was expecting more, especially coming off of her single and her momentum. And we're going to get to that in a second. I know we will, Dan.
Yo.
But the reason I didn't like it, it wasn't the content. The content was fine. I think it was the way it was put together. The melody she chose, I know you might disagree with this. I thought it was lackluster. And then the beats selection was super dated. It felt like an old early 2000s album, but without the quality.
So what I have to say to your point is what I've been hearing is that like they rushed this album. And the reason they did this is because her single Boot Up did so well. They just wanted to put out a project where the success of that single carried over to the project.
So the problem with that is, isn't this her debut project?
This is her debut.
So why would you rush your debut like that? It just doesn't make sense because you can still carry off the momentum of that single. That single, Boot Up, was huge. If you took your time and put out a good body of work, you would get the critical acclaim as well as the commercial acclaim, right? Now you have this rush project, so now it's like, oh, she had that one hit, and the rest of her project was all right.
World Star.
Okay, well, I disagree because I actually like this album a lot. I think like the first 2 songs, Emotion, Good Bad, they're good. Obviously her single, Boot Up, the song she has with John Legend called Everything, that one is dope. The one with her called Gut Feeling, I feel that one a lot too.
I like that one.
Yeah, I like the project overall. So I'm not saying that it's rushed, it's just like what I've been hearing. But again, I kind of agree with what you said, but as an overall project, I enjoyed it. Out of like everything that dropped, I think this is my favorite.
So what would you rate it?
4 out of 5.
A 4 is a pretty strong...
What do you mean?
The thing is, I think I enjoy the sound of her music. Like, even you said, like, it sounds like the early 2000s. Like, I enjoyed that.
So this is good as Dave East.
I mean...
You have to keep it consistent now. This is the problem that I have, too, because I gave Kamikaze a 4.5 out of 5. And I sort of fucked that up. That. I'm sort of regretting it now because I love Eminem that much. But, hey, man, you're giving this a 4 out of 5?
Okay, listen. So far, the highest project that I rated was Black's album. I gave it a 4.5. And nothing that's come out after that has lived up to that expectation. So this is just a little under that. I give it a 4 out of 5. I fuck with her, man. Ella Mai is dope.
Okay. Kev, what do you give it?
I have to preface this by saying this isn't really my type of music. But because it was very hard to get through it twice, let alone 3 times. So I would say 3 out of 5. And it's not like I don't like R&B, right? I like Frank Ocean, I like her, I like a whole bunch of other artists. But I think I was expecting a lot more, especially coming off of the hype that she had.
Staying on the topic of music, but just moving on from the projects that recently dropped. I heard that Mick Jenkins and Tory Lanez were dropping their albums on October 26th. Are you guys excited?
I don't know who Mick Jenkins is.
Oh my!
I'm sorry. I know Tory Lanez, but hey, man, I'm here to listen. I'm here to see and hear new music, and I'm open to it.
Sir, you need to do your homework.
I need to do my homework.
Mick Jenkins is super dope. He's underrated.
Okay. I think I might have heard of him.
Yeah.
Might have heard of him.
For those of you who don't know him, he's super lyrical. He has the musicality, and he comes from a poetry background, so there's gonna be some deep lines in there.
Yeah, the reason I included just this topic overall is because I'm super excited for both of their albums. Kevin and I have been Mick Jenkins fans for a long time, so I'm excited to
Shouts
hear this
to Vinny
album.
for putting us on to him.
Yup. And Tory Lanez, man, he's super fire, so I'm excited to hear his album. All right, Drake, you guys seen the clip when he brought Chris Brown out on stage? They squashed their beef.
Seems like he does this every couple of years. He gets into a beef and makes up.
So what I have to say is, Drake is considered one of the nicest guys in rap, right? Would you say that he's still the nicest guy in rap? Or has Chance the Rapper taken over the spot?
Are we really doing this? Are we biting Joe Budden right now?
Are we doing this?
I just want to hear your opinion.
Chance the Rapper is the nicest guy because he has no beefs with anybody in the beginning to start with.
And I
Chance
think
takes it.
Chance, Jesus take the wheel, all right? Chance is the nicest guy ever. He's praising the Lord right
But I think the content of his music helps a lot.
Whose?
The Chances helps
Yeah.
a lot with him saying like, oh, he's still the nicest guy.
Yeah.
His actions too, though.
His actions too? Yeah, definitely.
I mean, yeah, he is helping out
What
a
is
lot
Drake
in Chicago.
doing?
He's squashing old beefs.
He's
I guess.
squashing beefs, exactly. You answered your question. Can we move on to the next topic?
Chance is funding underfunded schools in Chicago. That's a different
What
ball
is Drake
game, bro.
doing? Drake is going to LA wearing other man's jerseys, talking about he's representing the six. So I don't know what this man is saying.
So I guess you've seen the clip of him bringing LeBron out on
Yeah,
stage.
hell yeah. No,
LeBron's not even a rapper. What's he doing up there?
hey man, LeBron is with the culture. I respect LeBron. That was pretty dope. He brought out Travis for the sicko mode, and hey man, that was if I was there. Oh man,
turned.
I would be turned. I would be bumping that. I would be like fist bumping that shit hard.
The other thing I gotta say, just going back to the Chris Brown topic, is I'm excited to hear new music from both of them because I'm a huge fan of Chris Brown
yeah.
and Drake, so I'm excited to hear them working
Imagine
on
a
new
collab
music
between
together.
those two.
Jeez.
Oh my goodness.
You think he's gonna drop another 50-song album?
Hey, if he's doing it with Drake, I'm gonna listen to that.
Yeah, no, you're not. I'm not.
Staying on Drake, you guys seen the clips of that HBO episode with him and
Yeah.
LeBron?
John
where he
I read
talked
about more of it than I actually watched.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I seen a like a 10-15 minute clip about what's been going on between them and how that all stirred up. Lift yourself. Scoop dee dee whoop. Scoop dee whoop.
I think he addressed some of the things that we talked about on this podcast in regards to Kanye and Pusha T. How we said that the lines about 40 was like a little bit too far, and Drake addressed that as
Yeah.
well. He's like, everything else he said on the record, I'm fine with, but going at someone who's helpless and facing like a disease that could like end terribly for him and just end up with him passing away is just too far.
That's savage still. But hey, this is rap battling.
So that's another thing. He says, I'm a student in a rap battle, and even I think that's not fair game because once you go there, then it's time to fight. Do you
Then
think it's
fight
fair
then.
game?
Then fight. Do it. I know man's
He said someone's gonna punch him in his fucking face.
Has anyone punched him in the face yet? Pusha T's doing interviews talking about how he likes Uniqlo white shirts right now. So I don't know. No one's been punching him in the face. So
Listen, man, last time
Pusha's
someone-
fine. Good music.
Last time someone talked shit about OVO, Moji, we all know what happened to him.
Okay, that's Moji though. That's Pusha T. Nobody's touching Pusha T. Like,
His friend's talking about Moji.
not even the same level, bro.
I think I agree with the fact that
Drake ain't doing shit.
no, I know he's not doing shit. He's too big of an artist to do anything. But
Yeah.
I do agree with the fact that those specific lines were like
That was-
across the
Yeah,
line.
it definitely did.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. But does it? What do you think about it? It's like
I think it's fair game.
I think it's fair game. That man mentioned. Well, he did barely mention like his wife, right? In Duppy, but whatever, bro.
It was fair game, but it was an overreaction.
It's overreaction, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you've seen some rap battles, they take it pretty far.
they take
And
it
rap
pretty
battles
far.
have changed since the early days.
Bro, no mercy. Sensitivity? Fuck out of here.
So moving on, today I was just at home chilling. I watched this Lil Wayne and Crown interview he did with Elliot Wilson. I know we talked about the Carter 5 a few episodes back. So he was saying how some of the songs are like super old. Some of the songs are like 7 years old or 4 years old, 5 years old.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up because it sounds like it, and I know some of us shat on it or people are shitting on the album because of that. But I guess you have to understand, because he first announced that the Carter 5 was dropping in 2012, and then he ended up dropping it this year, right? So I think it was just a project that he wanted to get out. And the reason I bring it up is because that interview was really dope. So if you haven't checked it out, I would suggest you to go and watch it.
I would definitely check it out, but despite that, it doesn't excuse you putting out a body of work 7 years too late and using the date as an excuse. You as an artist should know that that sound has become stale, and now you have to adapt to the times. The market is the market, right?
Yeah, I agree. But with certain songs, like the last song on the album, I forgot what it was called, but he talks about it in that interview where he talks about him playing with his mom's gun and shooting himself, right?
Right.
He's like, that song is at least 5 years old, but he was like, that's something that I felt like my fans needed to hear. So he's like, I know it's dated and like it might not sound appealing to people now, but I feel like the content and the message that I had in there is something that I needed to put out there for my fans to listen to.
To be fair, that's not even a song I took issue with, because the content definitely outshines the production or the packaging of the song overall. I think just overall, there were way too many tracks that felt old.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Moving on to wrap up our music topics. Last episode, we talked about Vic Mensa and how he apparently had a freestyle in the BET Awards where he addressed XXXTentacion. He put up a video on his Instagram that I want to play for you guys, so let's listen to it.
Recently, I did a freestyle for the BET Awards cypher addressing and condemning rappers who unabashedly abuse women and those who stand up for them and even call them legends. I stand behind those statements. It was pre-recorded weeks ago, and I had no idea a grieving mother would be in the audience to honor her lost son. I never intended to disrespect her, and I offer my deepest condolences for her loss at the hands of gun violence. However, I vehemently reject the trend in hip-hop of championing abusers, and I will not hold my tongue about it. I don't give a fuck about getting attention. I care about bringing awareness and holding people accountable for their actions.
So I think what's important to mention is that nobody has really heard what he said in the freestyle, right? So we don't know what he said. We need to hear the freestyle and see what he actually said. But what I do have to say is him speaking on someone that's passed away is kind of disrespectful. But I guess I know what he's trying to do, because he's had domestic violence accusations or charges that's been filed against him. So I feel like this whole thing is a little cleanup. He's trying to move up from like the mistakes that he's made in the past.
Chicago man's in their rebrands.
Yeah, he's rebranding. But I mean, he's doing it at the expense of someone that's passed away, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of fucked up, I think, especially when he did it when his mother was in attendance at the actual BET Awards, which was kind of fucked up, in my opinion.
You know what? He probably didn't actually know, but nonetheless, the damage is done, and this is just bad PR for him, right?
I think he's trying to clean up now. Like, even after he did it, he didn't give a fuck. And he realized then, like, people weren't fucking with him because he did what he did, and then he realized, okay, I gotta try to do something in order to make myself look a little bit better in this situation. So this video came out. So I honestly believe he feels that type of way.
I think I agree with you. Like, he cares more about cleaning up like what he's been accused of in the past than like offending a person that's been passed away. And I do think his intentions are good. Like what he's talking about bringing awareness, about celebrating people who talk about like abuse and shit like that. Obviously that's not cool, but talking about someone who's passed away, like I mentioned before, I think that's just disrespectful.
Is there really a trend though where they're celebrating these types of people? Outside of X, who else is there?
I don't know. I can't bring up anyone off the top of my head, but I feel like it's been something that it's been part of hip hop for a long time. Like bashing women and like talking down upon women has been part of hip hop for a long time. It's not anything new. But I think he takes issue with the fact that he's been accused of all this domestic violence charges, and then as soon as he passed away, now he's being praised as a legend.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely a lot of people brought that up in the beginning to start with.
Switching gears, let's talk about movies. I read this thing about Black Panther the 2, how they're trying to cast Childish Gambino. Have you read about that?
I heard that, but I also heard they're in talks with Michael B. Jordan again. What's that about?
Only God knows how they're gonna bring Killmonger back. I don't know what Ryan. I don't know what's his name. Ryan Coogler.
Yeah.
Ryan Coogler is the director, right? I don't know what he's trying to plan. Hopefully, no. But knowing Ryan, like he's done great movies to begin with. Obviously, with Fruitvale Station and Creed, he's gonna do something great with this, and I believe that this franchise by itself, what Marvel is doing with Ryan Coogler and the whole Black Panther series, is gonna be definitely different from what they've been doing before. And it's going to be refreshing, especially just seeing the general, with Marvel, they can't make a movie with an actual villain. Killmonger was actually one of the best villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Thanos, obviously, for sure is up there, but that came up after. But in general, I know for sure Ryan is going to do a good job with this movie. And in terms of Childish Gambino, I don't know how they're trying to implement him, because he was in Spider-Man. And with Spider-Man, he's connected in a way with Miles Morales. And there's actually a new animated movie coming out where Miles Morales it's in the comics. Miles Morales is a Spider-Man, so he's in a different era. So I don't know how they're going to try to implement him into it. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out.
Nerd talk.
Yo, I'm mad geek. Sorry about this, people.
I was gonna say, are you done?
Y'all need to do y'all need to do your homework on this movie stuff, man. I'm still working on my music stuff. Y'all got to pick up on the movies, homie.
I'm just excited to see if Gambino's gonna be part of Black Panther, because the first one was a sick movie. It was amazing. So I'll be interested to see how they cast him and interpret him into the movie.
Marvel's been pretty good at keeping their universe clean, if I'm not mistaken. Usually there's not too much in terms of contradictions and everything. So maybe they'll do a proper tie-in, or they'll retcon it and forget that Childish Gambino is the Spider-Man.
That can be a whole debate when it comes to contradictions and how they've written their characters in terms of trying to make it appeasing to the younger audience, but I'm not going to get into that. Trust me.
That's a whole episode.
That's a whole another episode. I need 45 minutes to do that.
Speaking of Spider-Man, though, Venom. You guys went to see that.
Me and my man Dan went to go see it. Venom got trashed by the critics. Listen, I don't listen to the critics when it comes to movies. I know this. Facts. Critics get these movies wrong, especially with superhero movies. They can get it wrong a lot. And I feel as if when it comes to movies that are not Disney owned, they tend to really rate these movies low, especially if it's not one of these movies. Like, some of these movies get good ratings, like Deadpool, Wonder Woman, but Venom, they gave it a 30% around there. And my opinion, I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. Dan, what did you give it?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't really look at the ratings, because I feel like it can alter your expectations of a movie before you go and watch it, right? So maybe you watch the trailer and you're excited to see it, but when you see the critics are shitting on it, they're giving it a 30%, that might lower your expectations, right? And then when you do go watch the movie, that might influence like how you feel about it. Me personally, I just give it a 7 out of 10. But I'm not gonna spoil it, but I think the beginning of it was kind of trash and there were a lot of random scenes, but I do think it picked up really well, and the ending, I liked it a lot too.
Yo, like, for someone like me, I'm a very DC heavy person. I don't really fuck with Marvel that much. I fuck with some of those guys like Spider-Man, Hulk, Punisher and all that. When it came to Venom, I only watched this movie because my mans were talking about how they wanted to watch this movie, and how Tom Hardy, I fuck with Tom Hardy. That man is such a great actor, and I had to watch this movie because of that. The first trailer that came out was so intriguing to me because it didn't show Venom, and it just showed a little bit of the character of Eddie Brock and how he's gonna attain this Venom symbiote and what it's gonna become of him. So when I seen more trailers of it, I started to get worried, and I really started to get worried when there was jokes that didn't need to be added. The reason why I gave this a 6.5 is because the main villain who owns that huge corporation, was terrible. Sorry, I'm getting into spoilers right now, but I'm about to go off.
No, don't spoil it for people who haven't seen it.
I'm doing my thing. Spoiler alert. Like, I'm not gonna give you a timestamp to skip to. Listen, like, the reason why this movie did so bad is because they didn't write Eddie Brock the way he's supposed to be. Tom Hardy didn't feel as if Tom Hardy should be cast in this role, because it seemed so off seeing Tom Hardy trying to be this funny character. The reason why this movie did so bad is because Sony owns Venom and Sony has sold Spider-Man. They have a little mutual contract with Spider-Man, so Spider-Man can appear in Avengers movies, as I mentioned before. And I feel like Sony tried to cater to Disney by making this more of a lighthearted film.
Even though Venom lighthearted.
You can't make Venom lighthearted. This man feeds on brains, and they didn't even show that. They just showed this man quickly snatching someone's head off, but you barely saw it because they didn't want to make it so graphic, which was sad because some movies like Deadpool and Wolverine thrive on the R rating movies, and they just didn't do it in this one, and that's why this movie didn't live up to the hype for me.
I think it's because they have to end up tying it to Spider-Man. So
exactly,
Spider-Man is like such a lighthearted movie,
exactly.
Right? This can be like on the complete opposite spectrum, and then have them like cross over in the middle.
Yeah,
you know?
And they mentioned that in the movie where Eddie Brock was fired from New York and was sent over to San Francisco, which was sort of off for me because I don't know why that even happens, because that doesn't really happen in the comics, but that's whatever to me. But I'm interested to seeing what Carnage. Woody Harrelson's in it. White man can't jump, but with that symbiote, that man's going to start jumping high up there.
Fly.
Man's going to start flying, bro. Trust. But no, that's going to be interesting to see how Carnage is implemented into this movie, considering that Carnage is offspring to Venom. Even Venom, the way they wrote Venom, he was trying to be this funny character, and I didn't even like that too, which was kind of weird, saying how he's kind of the lamest symbiote in his planet, which was sort of whack because he's probably one of the strongest. So that's besides the point, but 6.5 out of 10, sorry, for this movie. Definitely go watch it. It's an okay movie, but Tom Hardy, I don't know, they're doing more movies. Hopefully they can learn from this.
Yeah, watch it and just come up with a rating for yourself. Speaking about superheroes, you guys read that Chris Evans is trying to leave as Captain America?
This is about to be an hour and a half podcast if I keep going on this rant.
Chris the Cole's notes.
Chris Evans is not going to leave. Chris Evans has nothing else better to do with his life. He has no other movies coming out. This man is not a really good actor. This man is only famous because of Captain America. We've seen what Chris Evans has done playing fucking Fantastic Four. What was it? To Human Torch.
Yo, he was not bad as To Human Torch.
That movie was trash.
The movie was trash, but him as Human Torch, it wasn't that bad.
So is it...
It's not better than Captain America.
So how'd that turn out for him, though? Thank you very much. So, Chris Evans is Captain America. He's not going to leave this role. Tony Stark, obviously played by Robert Downey Jr., had the same, like, oh, I'm going to quit. But I feel like there needs to be a new set of superheroes that have to be coming out. I think this is going to be phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so it's going to be interesting how they take this new set of superheroes and implement them as the new set of Avengers. I can understand Chris Evans leaving. I don't think he should be leaving, but one thing that I find very interesting, which I'm going to bring up, which I don't think you guys even know about, is the fact about the James Gunn story and how he was kicked off Guardians of the Galaxy and is now looking for a job and is probably going to get hired by DC to do the new Suicide Squad movie. Guys.
True.
Are they actually going to touch him, though? Because he got fired for a pretty big scandal, no?
It's not a big scandal at all. It's something that was said years ago, and it's in terms of trying to be funny. Distasteful, but, it's nothing worth getting fired for in order to do a multi-million-dollar movie. But listen, guys, James Gunn is such a great director. I hope he doesn't do Suicide Squad because, yeah.
Suicide.
Hey, man, I'm a little turnt. Like, give me a little break, bro. I got a little something in the pudding, right?
Suicide's a dead franchise.
Suicide Squad is a dead franchise. I believe he should be doing the Green Lantern Corps. That would be dope. But Dave Bautista, who plays Drax in the Guardians of the Galaxy universe, was very upset and very vocal when it came to how James Gunn was treated and fired from his job as the director of this movie, and he's spoiling the movie of Avengers 4. I haven't read into it because I don't want to read into the whole spoilers, and he's been spoiling it, giving out spoilers left and right because he wants to get fired by Disney so he can join James Gunn in this new quest to join DC. And people are saying Dave Bautista, which I think would be dope.
Batista's character in Guardians of the Galaxy though is trash.
Drax is that character. I don't really know too much about Drax.
Relief.
It's comic relief. I don't really know Drax. I don't know anything about the Guardians of the Galaxy, so I won't even speak about that. But they want him to play Bane.
Oh, that would be good.
I think what's his name? He did a great job as Bane.
What?
Tom Hardy?
Tom Hardy, yeah.
Tom Hardy did a great job with Bane, but the thing with Bane is he's the way what I saw when in the movies and in the cartoons. Sometimes he has a Spanish accent, which is interesting, and it adds a little bit of interesting insight when it comes to this universe. So Dave Bautista being Bane would be cool. Hopefully his voice isn't really used as much, because I feel as if there's so many good voice actors that could go over his voice in order to portray that sinister Bane character. But that's beside the point. But hopefully Dave Bautista stops with the whole spoiling thing. So I don't know, that's just my take on it. But what do you guys think?
I think it might be just the antic. He's threatening the franchise to leave. Maybe he's trying to get a better contract. I don't see anybody else playing Captain America other than Chris Evans, but again, I don't want to spend too much time on this topic, so moving on. Just to wrap up our whole movie segment, Mike Will Made It has been announced that he's curating the soundtrack for Creed 2. Are you guys excited to hear what that soundtrack's?
Hard as fuck.
That's gonna be fire, bro.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fire.
Creed 2, oh man, that trailer looks fire.
I'm excited to hear it, see how he's gonna do. And
Mike Will has a deep roster too, so who knows what artists are gonna be on that soundtrack.
Yep.
Y'all gonna be definitely bumped to that in the gym for sure. That's for sure.
Really some workout music.
Yep.
Moving on and switching gears, just to wrap up our podcast. All of us here are NBA fans, basketball fans, and as you may know or you may not know, NBA is coming back on Tuesday, October 16th, opening night.
Yeah.
You guys excited?
Can't wait,
I am.
bro. Can't wait. I got my LeBron jersey, t-shirt jersey.
Bandwagon ass.
Hey, guys.
He's moving to Staples Center, guys.
I'm moving to Staples Center, bro. LeBron has come.
You give Drake shit for dick riding, but what are you doing right now?
Hey, I don't do this often, guys, okay? Drake be going to different cars. He going to Kentucky everywhere wearing other man's jersey talking about how he represents a six. But hey, that's just me.
I read this thing where they were talking about how Kyrie Irving has reached out to Anthony Davis and trying to recruit him to join Boston Celtics.
His contract ends next year?
Yeah, this summer.
Jimmy Butler's contract ends. Klay Thompson.
Well,
Kevin
Jimmy's
Durant.
trying to get traded, so...
Hey man, that whole topic is up in the air because that man they canceled practice. That man went to practice talking shit. He was playing third string, and he was cooking up all of them mans.
Starters.
That was straight up savage. Jimmy Butler, they cannot win without Jimmy Butler. But apparently he's going to play the season opener game when they have it.
He's going to get traded eventually, I think, because otherwise he's just going to have a negative impact.
He's going to tank.
Yeah, he's going to tank. He's going to have a negative impact.
He's not going to tank. Jimmy Butler is not that type of player. He has that mentality where he wants to win. He
won't tank on the court, but I think he'll tank off the court. Look at the comments that he's been making now. That's negative publicity that the Timberwolves probably don't want, right?
But I think they can hash it out. I honestly believe that they can work with that and work out their differences and become a good team and become a competitive team in the East, for sure.
No, West.
In the West?
I think they could too, and I think they have a really dope team. D-Rose, Jimmy Butler, Wiggins, Cat. I think they have a really strong team if they do hash it out.
But that's a long-term thing. You know? It's not going to be in the next couple seasons. Who knows what Jimmy Butler wants from that.
Going back to the Anthony Davis topic, though, just to wrap up, I think if he does join the Boston Celtics, oh my God, that would be crazy.
It's over.
It's over.
Eastern Conference.
It's going to be fucking Golden State versus Boston for the next
Charles Barkley said that on Jimmy Fallon's. That's one of the questions that he said in Jimmy Fallon. He said the two questions he got asked the most is who's going to be in the playoffs. It's going to be
who's going to be in the finals.
Who's going to be in the finals? What did he say again? I don't even know. It's going to be Golden State's going to win it all. And he said LeBron, like, they're not going to do shit at all in LA because they're still working everything out.
It's a young team.
It's a young team, raw talent, but a lot of work to be done and a lot of players that need to be implemented into the system.
We won't get into our NBA predictions just yet. We'll wait till the season starts just so we can watch a few games.
Gotta see how they play first.
Yeah, see how they play, and then over the next few episodes, we'll have some NBA predictions for you.
Kawhi Leonard, though.
If you guys have listened to our podcast before, you know we end the podcast the same way every week. We choose 2 to 4 songs each, upcoming artists, R&B and hip hop that we think you might have not heard, people that we think deserve some recognition. So we'll end the podcast like that. Follow our playlist on Apple Music and Spotify because we do update that playlist with our weekly picks. It's RVN space IT space BACK. Run it back.
Yeah, so you can also follow us on iTunes. We're also on Spotify. Check us out on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram as well. Run it back. RVNITBACK. We're on SoundCloud as well. Check us out. Also on YouTube. Guys, leave a comment. Like, subscribe, tell people about us. Share us so that we can sort of expand and let people know what we think coming from Toronto, what we think on certain topics as well.
Shout out to all the people who've given us some feedback on things that we can improve on, and that's something that we really, really want to hear from you guys. We want to hear if we're doing something good, and if we definitely want to hear if we're not doing something good and there's something that needs to be improved on. So hit us up. That's it for this week. See you guys next week.
I'm a suburban kid.
Later.